Have you ever applied Bondo before?
Yes, once when I was a kid, so it turned out awful.
Okay, well, that happens. Hello everyone, welcome back to Maverick Mods. You know, I've always kind of had the attitude that knowledge should be shared, especially hard-earned knowledge. I mean, face it, if you know something and you don't pass it on and it's something worthwhile and it dies with you, then that's knowledge lost. So I've always kind of had that philosophy. I carried that philosophy throughout my entire airline career. Always tried to pass on things I'd learned, you know, little tidbits of knowledge to the younger guys in the hopes that maybe it would help them someday. Well, that translates, in my opinion, to the automotive world as well. I met a guy, okay, I can call him a kid. I met a kid a couple of months ago, really nice guy. He's a local Marine here at the local air station. Got himself an old Mustang, and he's got a ton of enthusiasm. He's got a ton of energy, a little short on the knowledge side. So I decided to kind of take him under my wing. Maybe he might want to learn a few things about paint and bodywork. So grab your popcorn, let's get started. Fellas, we've got a little mini project here that is kind of close, near, and dear to my heart. Meet Alex. Alex is 21. He's a Marine here at the local air station. He's owned this, you've owned this Mustang since
16 years old.
You were 16 years old. It was your first
yeah.
car.
Yep.
Okay. It was a Survivor back then. It's a Survivor now. And he's basically just worked his butt off to try and keep it running. He likes Mustangs, likes classic cars, likes hot rods, but he's 21 years old and he doesn't know his ass from the hole in the ground. And he admits that.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good thing. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of me when I was 21. Full of energy, absolutely no fear whatsoever. Just jump right in and do stuff. You did an engine change in the parking lot here about a month ago, right? 2 months ago?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Just right over here in the parking lot, outside, did an engine change in the Mustang here. That's on YouTube, isn't it?
I gotta upload it yet, but yeah, I documented a large majority of the process.
Okay, well, when he, if he uploads that, I'll put the link up in one of the corners here so you can watch that. So what we have here is we've got a 71, correct?
72.
72 Mustang Coupe. Like I said, he's owned it. It was his first car, so he's had it for the last 5 years, doing his best to keep it running. However, the term that came up, and I didn't make this phrase up, he's the one that told me, Elsie the cow. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the paint here. And what we're going to do is we're going to get Alex we're shooting for a 20-foot paint job. Okay. Yep. Now, Alex, he can handle himself on a lot of the mechanical work. He's come and asked me for a tip here or there, and I've kind of pointed him in one direction or another, but he's done a really good job of keeping this running. Looking, on the other hand, well, you know, this, again, he reminds me of me at 21. Had absolutely no idea what I was doing, but hey, I got a spray can, and we're going to try stuff. Now, what happened here is, here recently, you kind of contracted a shop.
More of a backwoods body shop.
Backwoods body shop, there you go, to paint this car. And this is kind of sort of how it came out of that paint shop, and that was, he spent a ton of money on this and got nothing for his money.
Yeah, a year and a half wasted.
There you go. and a year and a half wasted. So we're going to see what we can do to help Alex out here. He's going to do most of the grunt work. I'm going to supervise and kind of give him a few pointers, but he's 21 years old and he doesn't have a pot to piss in, but he has a cool old car. So we're shooting for is a 20-foot paint job for a budget of about 200 bucks. And I'm not kidding on that. So for the next few episodes, we're probably going to see, you're going to see some techniques that you're going to really scratch your head, but the end product is, you know, we're shooting for a 20-foot paint job. It might be better than that. We'll see. Let's just do a quick kind of a close-up on the body here itself. It's actually a really clean car. It's got a nice original interior in it. It's under the hood's a 302 automatic. Like I said, Alex just put a rebuilt motor in it. It runs good. I've been helping him a little bit on the cooling system, but he's getting a handle on that. Body work wise, let's do a quick walk around of the rest of the body and see what we got to work with, because the idea here is we're not looking for show quality. We're looking for something that doesn't look like Elsie the cow when he drives down the street. So Alex has tried his hand at body work.
Yeah, tried is the key word there.
This is the glazing putty that you can buy at the local auto parts store. I don't like using this for a couple of reasons. One, it's not Bondo. There's a dent here, but it's not Bondo. This is meant to fill in scratches. But the big problem with this stuff is that it shrinks, and it never stops shrinking, so it shrinks under your paint. So a year from now, it's going to look terrible. So this is going to go away. We're going to fix this dent. Other than that, fender-wise, it's in good shape. Hood just looks terrible, but I don't see any big dents, craters, no baseball dents. There's a couple of, I see some footprints.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Okay.
Testing the structural integrity.
There you go. But the hood's in good shape. We've got something to work with. Driver's side fender is, well, it's rough on the paint, but as far as dents, we're in good shape. Doors in good shape. The roof line, everything's in good shape here until we get to the back. And we do have a little bit of quarter damage here. Good news is that it doesn't look like it displaced the bumper. We've been looking at that. And I think what I can do is come in from the back side. I can actually reach all this. We're just going to try and pop this dent out here, try and smooth this one out just a little bit. And I'm probably going to violate my rule on Bondo. And there may be slightly more than an 1/8 inch of Bondo in this. And there already is, because a lot of this down here is Bondo. So we'll try and do a little bit to fix that and at least kind of patch over it. Probably, he's got a new valance for it, rear valance. We'll probably put that on. And other than that, it's going to be a lot of sanding to get rid of some of this, well, whatever paint's on here, because I don't even know what paint is on here. You looked up and you said that the original color of this car was what?
It was medium lime metallic.
Medium lime metallic. So it's that, when it fades, it's that early 70s, late 60s, early 70s puke green.
Yep. Is
what it turns out to be. However, at some point in the life of the car, it was repainted black because they did the door jambs. They didn't do them very well, but they did the door jambs. The backyard body shop attempted the white, and you can kind of see the result of that. And I think our best bet is, and Alex agrees, it's going to go back with black. So let's get started. We're going to start here on Alex's Mustang of many colors. And step one to make it one color is we got to do a little bit of body work. Like I said, this was kind of done poorly by another shop that wound up closing. And we're going to take over and see if we can't do a little bit better job. One of the things that was done really poorly was, this is the hole where the antenna used to go. He doesn't want the antenna, so we need to plug this hole. It was actually plugged with either fiberglass or Bondo, one of the two, and of course the first time you look at it, it pops out. So we're going to weld up a little patch, cover up this hole, and just kind of work on this area. Alex says that the guy who did all this work says he was a professional. That's what the started as that plug looks like. I have no words. I literally have no words to describe that. So what we're going to do is grind this back, get back to some good metal that we can weld to.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. We're not quite done yet because these 4 little spots right here are actually holes that the antenna bolted into. So I need to actually knock those out and continue working on those. All right. We're just kind of picking drill bits at random here. Got a little bit smaller net to get through it. Alright, that's just to keep the weld from getting contaminated. I can't get to the back side of this, at least right now. I might try later if I can get up in the wheel well to kind of bring the surface back out, but for now we're just filling the holes. So we're going to cut a patch for this hole right here. So I just got myself a piece of sheet metal. We're just going to take the snips and just kind of work our way around. Kind of just make a circle. Hopefully I cut it a little bit bigger than that hole to start with, and then I can trim it. Okay, so now I can just start kind of trimming this until it fits.
So how much space do you want between where the patch is and the fender?
About a 1/16 of an inch.
Okay.
Because you don't want it right up against it, because then it'll bow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
From the heat?
Yeah. All right, so we've got our patch done. Let's get the welder out and get this welded in. Oh, that's some thin metal.
Thank you.
It'll get there. Start working it around. Got it finished welded, ground down. It's not perfect yet, but take a little bit more body work, but that's all we have time for today in this session. Just hit it with a coat or two of cheap hardware store primer. There you go. So let's start off with this quarter. Now the nice thing about the quarter here is I can basically access all of this dent right here through the backside, because I can just, I've got a spot, let's get light here, I've got a spot right there that we can work on here, and the big dent right in there. We'll see if we can't work this out, and I'm going to give Alex some pointers on how to do that, and maybe between the two of us we can get some of this dent out. So basically the idea of a dent like this, if you're going to try and work this out, essentially what you need to do is you need to exert the same amount of force to remove the dent as what it took to put the dent in. But also, it does no good at all to work on this side of the dent over here, because that's not where it started. It started right here. So if you start working it out where it initially came in, a lot of the metal beyond that will start coming out. And if you start here first and then you work here, then you're going to mess this up when you get this pulled out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show Alex here how to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off on the back side of this crease right here and see if I can't start working it out. Now what I'm going to want you to do is just kind of hold a little pressure right here. And so when I work this out, this metal is going to want to kind of come out with it.
Come out with it, yep.
So just kind of stand right there and just kind of hold a little pressure against that as I start banging this out. Let's see what happens.
Moving.
Alright, let's see how we did. Now I need to work this in and I have to start working this back because there's a body crease right in here as well. But I wanted to get this part of the crease out. Now we'll start working that in. And by the way, at this point, we're not using body hammers. We're using next thing to a sledgehammer because, again, you got to use the same amount of force to take the dent out as you did putting it back in. All right, now I'm going to have you hold the dolly because I'm better right-handed than left-handed. Okay. So I'll let you climb in there. Now what I'm going to work on is this crease right here. So if you feel back up in here, you'll be able to feel that crease. Yep. You're going to want to take the dolly.
The top part of the crease right here?
The whole thing right there.
Okay, yep. Got it.
Take the dolly, hold it like that, right kind of in the corner up against that crease. Got it?
There we go. That's perfect.
Now move the dolly to right there, if you can. Now let's swap over and let me have the dolly for just a second.
Sure. All right.
Doing some fine tuning here. Yeah. Let's see what we did. All right. So we've got it crowned a little bit. Now we can just kind of push it in. No.
Not with the hand.
Not with your hand.
No.
I'll let you get back inside with the dolly.
Sure.
Find it? Yeah. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put the dolly about right here, because I'm going to take and move this in. So I don't want to hammer against the dolly. I want to hold this metal here and let it kind of reflex. Okay. Dolly's going to be right here.
All right.
Got it?
Yep, that's it.
Not a lot we can do with this big crease. We're gonna have to fill that. There's not really much we can do about that.
Sure.
Yeah, I can get some of it out. Okay, let's start off with that. Let's just keep working down on this part here. We've got a body line we've got to worry about here. So let's take a look at the other side and see where we're at. All right. So you can see where I'm hitting right there.
Right, yeah.
Need to come up just a little bit, so same thing. We got to learn how to grind paint off because we got to put Bondo on here.
Okay.
So let's look at where the Bondo is going to go because we want bare metal. Sometimes you can put it on over paint.
With this paint,
I don't trust it exactly. So, and who knows how much paint's underneath it. Okay. So let's just grind it down to bare metal. So I'm going to take my Sharpie and look at where you get a nice little dent there. We'll have to work on that. But we're looking at this area first. So I'm going to kind of look at that later. But for right now, be careful right here. Don't hit that with the grinder, but go on this edge down to right along there. We want to get all of that down to bare metal.
Okay.
All right, go to it. Light touch. So Alex got everything ground down. We're going to take a longboard. This is a flexible board. It's basically just a, what is this stuff? It's called, oh, I can't remember what it's called. It's actually a marine product for boats, but works pretty good. It's got a little flex to it. We're going to take and just kind of run it. That's pretty good. We got one deep spot right here. I want to see if I can knock that out just
Probably
a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah. The rest of it's doable. But I would like to try and knock that one spot out.
There she
Felt
goes.
it come out.
Yeah, there it goes.
All right.
I think that was it, actually.
Yep, it was. Okay. So we're good there.
There's a small low spot right here.
Okay. Hold the dolly about right here.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think we can put Bondo on this.
So that's it.
Okay. All right, Alex. Bondo does not stick well to dust. So need a clean surface to start with, so hit it with the wax and grease remover. Okay, now, Bondo also does not stick well to a surface that you just touched because your hands have oils.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so wax and grease remover again. This is why at this point I start wearing gloves, but I think we can get by with it this time.
Right.
Let's mix up some Bondo. Have you ever applied Bondo before?
Yes, once when I was a kid, so it turned out awful.
Okay, well that happens.
I didn't mix the catalyst well enough, so it was streaking.
That happens too. Well, it's once you figure it out, it kind of sticks with you. Okay, I'll do this the one time and show you, and then from then on it's up to you.
All right.
So we got our handy dandy fancy palette. Take one of the keys is you don't want to do too much because there is a time limit on this, and a couple of thin coats that you can build up works. You don't have to put it all on at once. Let's start off with that. Now, one of the mistakes that almost everybody makes, and I do it too, is putting in too much hardener.
Right.
So they say you're supposed to go all the way across. What I have found is that
That's too much.
that's way too much, and it just so I go with about that much.
Oh, okay.
And the heat tends to make a difference there. And the other thing is when you mix this, a lot of people will stir it. You take and you just kind of knead it like this, fold it in over itself. That'll work the hardener in. And spread her off once in a while. And when you got a uniform color, you're mixed. You can go top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side. You don't want to go over the same spot too many times. And if we have to go back over it, that's all right. I kind of like to say I'm going to sand off about 80% of the Bondo that I apply if I've done it right.
Right. But you don't want to go back and add more if you didn't have enough later.
Oh, yeah, you can always go back and add more.
True.
And if you didn't mix up enough to do the whole area, this is a fairly large area to be doing. If you didn't mix up enough, mix up some more.
Looks like we're gonna need more.
Oh yeah, I did that on purpose because you're doing it next one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, see how that works?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see what Alex learned by watching me spread Bondo. So, you're up.
All right.
Do about a third of the amount that I did.
Okay.
Because you're going to spread it on thin in the remaining areas.
Right.
In fact, that ought to be good right there.
Right there?
Yep.
Okay. So we only need like a dot of this.
You just need a drop on that. You don't need much at all. Yep, that's good. Because you saw how quick the stuff I spread on there. Yep. Okay, go ahead and wipe your spreader really good because you've got a couple of blobs of...
Yeah, I see it.
Yep.
See, that's good?
Yep, that's good.
All right.
That'll work. Just basically hit the areas that I didn't. Okay. And you'll kind of get a gauge as to how thin it doesn't need to go on thick. Okay, and with the spreader, don't really scrape. Just kind of, there you go, just kind of lay it on. Go ahead and hit these. You can kind of clean off some of that there and use that. There you go. Okay, and you can overlap the painted areas because that's going to wind up being sanded off anyway.
Okay. I'd say that's good.
Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, and another secret is don't get too much Bondo on your spreader itself because it's that much harder to manage.
Okay.
Okay. and come down here and just kind of work, when you get to it, work this area just all along here as well. It's going to take a little bit, it's going to take a fairly good amount when you get down to this point.
Oh, I see it. Yep.
See? And if you don't fill it completely, that's fine, because we can always go back and do it later.
Right.
Right. And when you hit that like that, let me show you something real quick.
I can hold that.
Okay. Let's get a little bit here. When you see how you've got tracks here, when you come along there, and it's already starting to harden, and if you got to be careful with the edge of your spreader. Let me get some of this area here. Well, I've still got some decent Bondo to work with.
Right.
Before it hardens. See how it's kind of starting to, that means that it's starting to kick off.
You really don't have a lot of time.
No, and that's the heat. But when you come along in this area right here, try and use the center of your spreader and keep track of where your edges are, because you let the edge come along and the edge actually gouge the Bondo that you had just put on.
Right,
see what I mean?
It started scraping off some of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it just created a nice little gouge that you're going to have to go in and fill later.
Right.
All right, let's let that harden. Okay, we're ready for our first round of sanding. I'm going to be nice to Alex and not make him hand sand this. We're actually going to get the airfoil out, show him how to use this. Now I'm just going to turn him loose with it. So it's real simple, just a flat board. Goes back and forth. So you're just going to come along. Good. And basically you want to work from the edges in. We're probably going to have to add more Bondo in here to kind of build it out. So don't worry too much about getting this down. Just kind of smooth it out. And when you feather the edge up here, just kind of work your way around that.
All right.
Go for it.
Sounds good.
And if you take off too much Bondo, we can always add more.
Right.
Don't turn it sideways. You want to be flat with the plane of the car.
Okay.
So that's the deal on this one. Never turn it sideways. Well, go ahead and sit down. It helps.
All right.
You're going to get dust on you. There's nothing you can do about it.
Oh,
there you go. Alex has been sanding his butt off. We got to coat a primer on there because where he can only work on these this on Saturdays because he works, obviously. So it's not quite there yet, but it's close. It's got a little bit yet to go, some board sanding to smooth some things out. We've got a few areas to work on, but he's getting there. That's going to do it for this week, folks. We got Alex started. Like I said, he can only work on the car on his time off and when I've got the time as well. So we're probably looking at, maybe 3 or 4 episodes spread out over several months before we finally get a good paint job on the Mustang. Keep tuning in and the Mustang will be back. Big thanks to everybody for tuning in every week. Certainly appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. Almost there to that 1,000 subscriber. I'm looking forward to that. That's a big milestone for me. We'll see you guys next week. Everybody, have a great day.